What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Out of the Park Baseball 22. We are in the middle of our year 2022 playthrough. If you remember in our last episode, we just simulated April. We're looking toward May. And if you can see, the Buccos finished the first month of the season 10-11, 5 games back of first place in the NL Central, and then 2 games back from the wild card lead. So a couple things I took a look at when I was offline, and I'll take you through what I was thinking and some of the things I think I'm going to do to help improve our team overall. And we're not going to get into trades yet. I think there's a few minor adjustments we can make. But first, the talent's there, and I'm questioning why aren't we winning more games? And so if I go to the standings here on the MLB page, and if I go to the expanded standings, and I come down here to the NL Central, you're going to see that, number one, we should be 12-9 right now. So by our Pythagorean expectation, by what the system, the projections thought that we would be at this point of the year, we're 2 games behind that. So what does that mean? Probably just suffered a little bit of early season bad luck, and that you would expect to bounce back our way, towards 0 as the season progresses. So, okay, that's one thing we can take care of too. Or we don't have to do anything for it'll be naturally taken care of. The other piece, though, is that if you look, we play currently in the toughest division in all of baseball. So if you scan through these divisions, AL East, Central, West, NL East, Central, West, this is the only division where all teams are within 1 game of 500. Everyone else has some bottom dwellers here, like the Orioles are 6-15, and then you have the Giants who are 8-14. So there's a cupcake in all these divisions, except really for ours. And you also notice, I think the most stunning thing so far is that every team in the division has a positive run differential. So, you have the Brewers that are plus 32, and then everyone else is that plus 11, plus 12, plus 13, plus 10. And if you look at this, we're actually the second best in our division, in our division in terms of run differential. So, again, naturally, I think that we're going to bounce back there. So, as I'm trying to solve what is the problem, I'm like, okay, let's take a look at some of the statistics, team statistics, and see if there's any glaring need. And to be quite frank, I didn't really find any huge areas of need. Now, there's a little bit that we can adjust or try to strive to do better at. But if you look at, everything really in terms of our hits, but particularly our home run, double, triple, those numbers combined, our power hitting is pretty good in terms of the NL. Now, if you look at the AL, those numbers are just ridiculous already. Like the Blue Jays hitting 45 home runs, things like that. But in terms of NL, we're right there with the other teams. We're hanging in there. So I don't think that there's a huge issue in terms of hitting. If you look at our batting average, it's in line. It's actually one of the higher ones. Our slugging, you can see our slugging 430 is pretty good overall. So our power hitting is fine. Our on base percentage is doing okay. I'd like to improve a little bit. But you can see we get out on the base paths too, 8 steals, but we have 6 caught stealing. So I like the aggressiveness. I think we're playing well there. And then you look at team pitching. You look at the team stats for pitching, and they're not as good, I don't think, as the hitting stats. We let up a high number of home runs. Our walks aren't that bad. I feel like, and if you look at our complete games, we have 2 complete games so far this year. We keep the other team to low batting average, relatively low on base percentage. I think if there's one area though that we could improve upon is eliminating home runs and power hitting from the opposing team. I think that's one of our issues, and I also think that if this is kind of detailed in the fact that our ground ground out percentage here is about 48%. We have a lot of fly ball pitchers, and I think that could be solved. I think we could solve a lot of our problems with some better bullpen management. So all in all, the talent is there. The wins just aren't coming. I think that could be a cause of, like I said, a cause of a couple different things. But I think over the season we will regress to the mean, and by regress I mean we will have better results. So there's a couple things though, some small lineup tweaks that I think we could make that would be significantly better for our team. Most of them occur in the rotation and the bullpen. So you can see here, because Tristan Beck has been suspended for 5 games, we actually have Kumar Rocker up in the MLB, which is awesome. I think that may be a little early for him, especially if you look at the stats from last year. I think he might need a little bit more seasoning. So we're going to send him down. We're not going to expose him just yet. But anyways, if we look at a couple pitchers who are pitching a lot, aren't pitching great, and there are pitchers who are pitching, great, aren't pitching a lot. And I think that can just be maybe sample size as well, but we're at least going to switch some things up. First, what I want to do is get Cody Bolton out of the starting lineup. He has given up. His whip isn't bad, but he's been extremely lucky in terms of BABIP already. Has a high number of walks, high number of home runs, or home run per 9. The 27-9 strikeout walk ratio is fine, but he's 0-3, high ERA. So I want to get him. I think he could be okay, but I want to get him out of the rotation. So who am I going to put into the rotation? I'm going to do something that rewards someone who's pitching well, but also switches up the righty, lefty. And I'm going to put Steve Matz in the starting rotation. If you look at the year he's having now, granted, it's only 7 innings pitched. I know it's a small sample size, but he's been dealing. And I know his whip is higher than Bolton's, but if you look at the other peripherals, 0 home runs per 9. He's given up 0 home runs on the year. Again, high walks, but he's striking people out. And he's been extremely unlucky as well. The BABIP is super high, so this means he can get better. And he already has 0.4 WAR, despite only coming in for 5 games. So I want to put him. I want to put old Matsy in the starting rotation. So that's one change that we're going to do there. So we're going to take Bolton out. This is going to cause me to have to make a lot of manual edits. Here, track manual things, I know it, as we go through the season, but oh well, such is the life. And then, so the other thing I've noticed is that I think we're going to reduce some of these. We're going to change our 8th inning or later options, 6th inning or later, whatever. We might change those, but we're going to change the people those are assigned to. So if I look at Zach McAllister, he has been unlucky, very unlucky so far this year, but he hasn't really helped himself out. He's allowed 12 hits in 7 innings, allowed 7 earned runs in those innings as well, and given up 2 walks. His whip super high. And again, that might be a little bit unlucky. That might be the fact of, if we're putting him in high leverage, he's naturally going to have those. He's probably coming in with a runner on first and second. And even though those aren't his runs, on the base paths, that makes it very tough to pitch. And then he gives up a hit, and then that is his run, on first base after he singles. So I think he's maybe put in bad situations, which is fine. We're gonna eliminate those for him. So I'm also going to reduce the rules for Matt Hall. If I look at Matt Hall, very similar story. I mean, he is just 5 2/3 innings pitched, given up 2 home runs, 9 hits, walked a guy and only struck out 4. Just very bad ratios across the board. Again, 368 BABIP. So again, a little unlucky. So I think a couple of these changes added in with better luck, we're ultimately going to have better results. You can also see a 1.76 whip. And trust me, I know you guys look at this probably thinking small sample size. I get it. But I think, we can improve, especially the division that we're in. We don't really have time to wait too much this year. And I think, we're not going to make drastic changes. So he's someone that I'm going to limit, the high leverage situations to, or reduce their their play, and then also Jackson Coer, which is kind of disappointing. His WHIP is 2.16. It's pretty much out of control. 5 walks and 13 hits in 8 in the third inning. 3 home runs he's given up in 8 innings. I think his BABIP super unlucky. High walk. I think he needs to go back. I think he's a demotion candidate. And again, not that I don't believe in him or he can't one day become a great pitcher, whether it's a starter or reliever. But I think that he might just be a little bit above his head. You look at his numbers last year, very similar. So we want to salvage this this guy's career. So we're going to send him back to AAA. So there are a couple people that I want to increase their play, and that we already talked about Steve Matz, who's done awesome in the bullpen. He's going to get into the starting rotation. The next is Craig Stammen, one of our free agent acquisitions this year. So WHIP 1.24, not bad. 0 home runs given up in 5 innings, and you can see up here he's a ground ball pitcher, which is kind of what we want. We want to increase that ground percentage, and he's been he hasn't been lucky or unlucky. His Ks are about in line with his career average. The walks are a little high, but the other players were getting that same amount of walks, with other bad peripheral stats. So if it's only the walks we have to worry about, I'm okay with that. So we're going to increase his pitching as well. Someone else that we're going to do is I missed him there. Okay, Chad Cole. So he hasn't pitched great this year, but I'm going to take a chance on his 2 home runs over 4 innings being a fluke. I like the strikeout per 9. I love the 0 walks per 9, and obviously, again, small sample size, those are going to change, those are going to fluctuate. He's been unlucky. He's been a good reliever in the past for the Pirates, so I'm going to give him a little bit more leeway, and not like throw him out there in every high leverage situation, but just give him a little bit more opportunity, maybe in the setup rule or something like that. So that's the other person I'm going to give time to. But lastly, when we're looking at sending down, moving around kind of leverage spots, is who are we going to bring up? And the one person that I do want to bring up is JT Brubaker. He wasn't a dynamo. He wasn't I mean he actually I know he won the Gold Glove. He based on his WAR, he could maybe reach all-star level. But I think that he got a little unlucky last year and still had a pretty good year. Walks a little high, strikeouts a little down, but he didn't give up home runs. And I want to see what he can do, out of the bullpen or is an emergency starter. So we're talking about who we're sending down, who we're bringing up from a pitching perspective. He's going to be one that we're bringing up. So because Kumar is, we're going to send him we'll send him to AAA. He hasn't played AAA yet, but we're going to bring up Brubaker here. So then if we're going to go down, we're also going to we go down to the rest of our bullpen here. We have Cody Bolton, which I wouldn't mind sending down, but he possibly could be traded if we don't turn things around. But Jackson Coer is the other person that we want to demote. And I think right now his demotion will only be to AAA. I don't think he needs to go back any further than that as of right now. I mean, we'll see how things go. But that leads, okay, well, who else are we going to bring up? And then Miguel had a pretty good year last year for us in the minor leagues. I was thinking about bringing him up. And I think, it might be right for him to have an opportunity. But again, he might need a little bit more seasoning there. So I don't necessarily want to bring him up. Oh, sorry, I keep clicking at the top of my toolbar there. So I think we're going to be good there. I think we're going to say, you know what, we're not going to bring up another pitcher, but what we're going to do is we're going to bring up J.J. Bleday, which brings us into another round of things that we're going to do in the outfield for our lineup. But first, those are the ones we're going to do. Let's just adjust who pitches and when. So I think we're going to want Stammen or Stratton even to Stratton is also having a good season. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on that. I mean, he's been very, very lucky. High walks, but again, no home runs. So again, maybe I'm overreacting to the small sample size, but I just want to get this corrected soon. So instead of all these high leverage, whatever, we're just going to go to, just normal usage here, and not necessarily, maybe emergency starting pitcher. I'll put that for Holmes is fine. I'll put that for Brubaker as well. But when I'm thinking of closer, I'm thinking Stammen is going to be our closer there, and I'm okay with using him in the 8th or later. Now let's see who. Oh, sorry, that's not how you do it. Closer there, and then McAllister, we're going to put him just in middle relief. I think that'll be fine right now. Again, Matt Hall, we're going to put him in. Let's see, what is his? Okay, his stamina isn't great, so we're going to put him in middle relief. Tempted to do specialist, but we'll just leave him at middle relief as of now. Chris Stratton, I think he's fine in the setup role as is. I also want to put Cool. He's not going to be – I don't want him to necessarily be a long reliever because I think that's why he gets shelled. But I do want to put him maybe as a setup man or a middle relief. I'll do middle relief so I have multiple options here. 2 righties, lefty, righty. Clay Holmes, I don't know. Yeah, he's not a long reliever. I'll put him as a specialist. He'll be my specialist here. And then Cody Bolton he'll be long relief because he has that starter experience. And then JT Brubaker. Oh, sorry, Clay Hole was supposed to be. Oh, no, I had that right. My apologies. Again, don't know why I'm apologizing. But again, our starting pitchers, I think, are fine. We're not going to have Brubaker come in and take any of their spots. But I would like him to be – I would almost like him to be in middle relief. Again, another option. But he's a strong pitcher, and he's someone that could be stretched out into a starter if needed. I don't want to limit him to only middle. I don't want to limit him to only long relief because I think he could provide pretty good value in the middle relief role too. So I'm going to stack a lot of our options here in middle relief and not limit everyone or not limit the options too much. So here we have pretty much normal usage for everybody. We have 9th or later for Stammen, which I think we're going to make to 8th or later. Stratton 6th or later. So I think we're going to be in I'm actually going to change that to 7th or later. So I think we're in an okay spot with our revised rotation and bullpen. Now our lineups are a different animal here. So as you can see, Blade got demoted. Why? I'm not exactly sure. I mean, he hasn't had the best career since coming over in his deal, but I think we need to get him into the lineup. So, but I've also noticed some other players who are playing great. So Trammell right now is tearing the cover off the ball. So if we look at Trammell, he's crushing it in that leadoff spot, 939 OPS plus. I mean, the guy's slugging 531. He's raking right now, so I want to keep him there. I like having him in that leadoff spot. So we're gonna keep him there. And then I also saw that Anthony Alford is having a great season as well. Again, small sample size, but 20 at bats, 9 hits. Hitting 450 with a 1.142 OPS. So I'm actually going to put him in, and he can play right field. So sorry, I know I was talking about having Blade come up and play right. We're going to ride Anthony Alford until his numbers start coming back to earth. So we're going to hit him number 2 because he's had a hot start to the year. I know doesn't have the fire next to him, but he's had a hot start. So we're going to bat him second. Then we're going to keep Senzel third because he too is raking over 1,000 OPS. Hitting 365, 635 slugging. I mean, he is tearing the cover off the ball. So we're going to keep him batting third. We're going to keep Alonso batting fourth. Again, hitting 839. It's not like last year's over 1,000, but he's still above average in terms of production compared to the average major leaguer. Ugh. So the other change we're going to make is we're going to drop Brian Hayes down the lineup. So if you look here, he is not had a good year hitting the ball. 637 OPS, 69, nice OPS plus, 220 average. He just hasn't gotten it going at the plate. Although, to get that 0.4 WAR with these numbers, he's got to continue doing his wizardry defensively. So we're going to take the pressure off him a little bit. We're going to drop him in the lineup a little bit. So we're going to move LaStella behind Hayes. And why LaStella? Having a decent season, around league average, hitting 713 from an OPS standpoint, and he's hitting and he's slugging it pretty well too. So we'll keep him, and then Carson Kelly. We're going to have him follow up Tommy LaStella. Did I say Tony LaStella last time? I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, I got this all messed up. Follow up Tommy LaStella, and then we're going to have Brian Hayes bat seventh because Kevin Newman, even worse than Hayes at the moment. So we're going to drop Hayes in the lineup. I think that will make it a little bit better for him, I hope. So that's going to be against the right-handed lineup, and then we're going to copy lineup here, and then we're going to go to right-handed DH, and then we're going to pace lineup, and we're going to want to see what it does for the DH too. So in terms of DH, who do we want hitting? I mean, our options on the bench are kind of struggling right now, to be quite frank. But Haniger, he mashes before, so I'm going to put him. I'm not going to put him last. I'm just going to throw him right here, right now, and then I'm going to put him above Hayes. We're going to drop Hayes to 8, Newman to 9, and we're going to put Haniger down there at 7th in the DH spot. So we have the starting lineup. And now, as soon as Alfred's numbers start coming back down to earth, we'll replace him with Bleday, 100%. So let me get Bleday in here as a pinch hitter versus right-handers. Bleday. Yep, there we go. Okay. And then versus a left-handed lineup, things might be a little bit different here. So let's go to Alfred and let's look at how he hits against lefties. So he hits a little bit better against lefties than he does righties. And maybe that's why all of his numbers are coming up well so far, maybe because he's only limited to the lefty role. You know what? Actually, let me check that out. Bleday, how's he do against righties? Yeah, okay. So you know what I'm going to do? Now that I'm thinking about this, I'm going to put Bleday in the other in the 2 hole here. Maybe batting second will get him going a little bit. Or maybe do I want to put somebody else? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to put LaStella there with Bleday replace Bleday with LaStella in terms of the order. Put Carson Kelly ahead of Bleday. So then I'm going to have Bleday, Hayes, and then Newman. So now I'm going to copy this lineup. And then I'm going to paste that lineup. And then Haniger in there as a DH. We'll put him above Bleday. Okay, so now lefty. This is where we'll keep. This is where we'll have Alfred, Anthony Alfred in there. So he'll play right field. Pardon my throat clearing. So this is when he will go up, bat second. Hayes. I'm still going to drop him in the lineup. So then we're going to have. Let's see. How does Senzel hit against? Yeah, I mean, he hits fine against he hits great against lefties. So we're going to move Senzel up here to number 3. We'll put Alonso at 4. Then we'll put Kelly, Hayes. Let's see LaStella here. Okay, against lefties, it's not fantastic. Let's see how cool Tucker is here. Okay, yeah, nothing great either. So we're gonna leave LaStella in. Let's see how Carson Kelly does against lefties. Okay. Alonso. So we're going to put Tommy LaStella behind Kelly and then Hayes behind Newman. Or Hayes in front of Newman. So we're going to copy this and then we're going to go to left-handed DH. We're going to paste this lineup here. And then for the DH, okay, Haniger's not the choice. Yeah, it's Fred. I forgot Haniger has weird splits. Let's see. Who do we want to serve as the DH? Colin Moran? I don't think he's going to have. Yeah, he's not the one we're looking for. He is not the droid that you're looking for. So we're going to go with, we'll still stick with Blade here as the DH, and we will put him ahead of only Hayes and Newman. So right now, I feel better in our lineup. We're going to use this as long as we can, and I hope to God it doesn't take this much manual effort to do all this junk because it is super, super annoying. But I do want to make sure that if someone's tired, they can get a breather, all this kind of jazz here. So let me fill out this. Okay, that's filled out, the depth chart here. That's what I'm talking about, in case you guys cannot figure that out. So then Tucker. Okay. So to make sure we have a rule for everybody. All right, great. So that's what I think. Those small choices are going to help turn this around for us. If not, I have a break glass in case of emergency. Well, not really that bad, but I think it's time where we go out and acquire better bullpen, because I think that, yeah, our lineup can use some help here or there, but I think most of our issues are with our bullpen right now. So if this doesn't work well, we're going to, raid the rebuilding teams when it comes to looking at who can we trade for. So I know we're, about a half hour into this video already, but we're going to go ahead and start simulating. So let's bring up our schedule here. And I kind of like doing the calendar view before. So tough schedule. We have Atlanta. Then we have Milwaukee. So this is going to be a tough month here, but let's see how we do. So, May 2nd against the Braves, 4-1 loss, not great. 6-3 loss, not great. 8-5 loss, not great either. So how did I just know someone was going to already be hurt? I don't know. I don't even know how that's possible. What position is it? Right field. Oh, they set Blade down. I don't understand. I gotta. You know what? I still have our. Ben Cherington making those decisions there. Let's see did that affect anything with her pitcher? Yeah. See. Okay. All right. So you have an understanding of what we're doing. I'm gonna go ahead and just redo everything I just did. I'm gonna do it off screen, so you have to see that, and then we'll pick it back up. Ben Cherington obviously fucking us over already. So I will. I'll make those changes. I'll make sure Ben doesn't fuck it up again, and then we'll come back. We'll sim the month of May, and then we'll go from there. So thanks for joining us. I hope you guys are on board with the strategy. I think it's going to turn out to be a good choice. But look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks. Have a good one, guys.